Are you happy to see me? Realize I have another battery. So, can you see me okay? You don't actually need to. So, we were called Homo sapiens. Well, we still call ourselves that. And we still are that biologically. But I think it's the first time that we need cultural species names. We're good at biological species names, and it's a question of whether or not you can reproduce. But a cultural species name is about whether or not the two people can live together, can have goals and can have any goals at all in common, and approaches in common, and so on. I could not live with a Neanderthal. We're not, because some people, I was reading that for some, the Neanderthal might be another subspecies of Homo sapiens. So we're Homo sapiens sapiens. I asked my dad about that. He had no idea what I was talking about. But I knew that we are Homo sapiens sapiens, that sometimes we're referred to as a subspecies. But I didn't know that Neanderthal sometimes are also considered as a subspecies of Homo sapiens. So maybe Homo sapiens neanderthalis. I don't know. So I am of a different biological species. And I could live with, I could live with a Neanderthal, but I could not sort of live with a Neanderthal, exist with, work together. His language abilities were very different, the whole morality thing. Then again, if we're biologically closely enough related, can he then learn those things? Yeah, yeah, maybe. In which case, I guess we can live together. Okay, so I don't know what the definition of differentiating between cultural species is. And maybe there is no useful thing, but here's what I wanted to say anyway. So, um, I always did disliked that we're called Homo sapiens because I think we're fucking idiots. Now, early Homo sapiens. So, sapien is an adjective, right? Wise or knowledgeable. It doesn't mean having all knowledge, doesn't mean having all wisdom, but it means having some knowledge and some wisdom relative to the recent history and other species. The species that we want to first label, the individuals we want to first label as Homo sapiens, relative to their ancestors and relative to the other species, they were knowledgeable and wise. Okay, very good. And that's still the case. Here's the thing though. We are in the process of destroying ourselves because we have overestimated just how wise we are. We think we have intelligence. We think it's something that can be had, that's binary, we have it or we don't. It's just that we're more intelligent than dolphins and dogs and chimps and stuff, but we don't have intelligence in the sense of having a rational, conscious, intelligent soul that is able to perceive and judge reality. Getting very, very hot. Um, but we came under the impression that we had all these really imaginative and wild interpretations, and intellectual activity, but it got to be too much because my dog can't be dangerous. Like he's smart, but it's never dangerous. It's never like he's thinking, man, I'm so powerful that if I think that if I'm barking at someone, that means that that person really is bad, and I should just go in there and eat them because I'm rational. Why would I be barking at them if they weren't bad? Um, or uh, yeah, I guess that's a good enough example. Or hey, we should design this whole system, and we'll all be able to adapt to it. Uh, it's hard to come up with an example because we're the only species to have done it, to have had some abilities, some impressive abilities, and then to ourselves have misinterpreted or misjudged how impressive those abilities were, and so start actually hurting ourselves by the by having expectations and what was the other word I had? Expectations and no. So Homo sapiens, they were wise for their time and for their recent history. So Homo sapiens existed before year zero, human era. Okay? So right before we have agriculture. We can call that species culturally, not biologically, Homo sapiens. Well, also biologically. But Homo sapiens goes back 300,000 years. But let's say culturally, the Homo sapiens term, let's not use it once we settle down for agriculture. Because then start having these great big societies and we start really overstepping our actual abilities and stuff. So the culture, the demands and expectations greatly outpaced the ability and actual wisdom. So you can no longer call us Homo sapiens because relative to our time, relative to our current systems, we were no longer wise. I mean, relative to our contemporary systems, we are no longer wise as today. So we are still what I call Homo arrogans. And I've used that term for years, but now it is a cultural biological term, a cultural specific term, not a biological specific term. Before year zero human era is Homo sapiens. From year zero until let's say at least I would guess it'll take a lot of generations, I think. Well, also maybe I just want to think I'm special. I'm so ahead. I put here 12,500. So 12,500, that's about 500 years from now. So between 0 and 12,500 of the human era, that would be Homo arrogans. And then what's coming and what I'm hoping members of this cultural species watch these videos to see how, what's the word? Persipas? Perpicas? Perspation? Anyway, you understand what I'm trying to say. That I am. And so I want to call them the people of the future who not only have some pretty impressive abilities, but also have knowledge about those abilities. I've got a name for them, but I want to build up to it a little bit more. Because Homo sapiens, I always thought it meant wise man, but it can also be translated as knowledgeable man, right? And I was thinking, see, I would love to. So I was thinking, oh, okay, knowledgeable man. Like they have knowledge, but they didn't have science. Fuck you, they had knowledge. So I want to call the future species, because right now I'm a Homo sapiens. I mean, even if I have Homo, what I'm going to tell you, tendencies, I exist in the time of Homo sapiens, therefore I am Homo sapiens. A cultural specific term can only be used if it's the culture. Okay, so I am a predecessor of this other Homo, but I am Homo sapiens. I'm a member of Homo sapiens, of the Homo sapien culture. Of wow, we're so smart. What's a bias? What's a fallacy? I don't know. I don't care. By the way, I'm actually a soul, guys. That's Homo sapiens. Okay. So I was thinking about using knowledgeable, but whatever. There's another term that immediately came to mind for knowledge, because we're already called Homo sapiens, which is gnosis. So if you're agnostic, you are A, the prefix for being not, and then gnostic, meaning having spiritual knowledge or just having knowledge. So sapiens is Latin. Yeah, from sapio, which is like I discern. So it means like it's the so discerning. It's the or being discerned. It's the passive active participle of sapio. The present active particle, yeah, so discerning. Yeah. So we are discerning man, Homo discerning. Actually, we're not. Oh, sorry. Fuck. All this time I've been saying I'm Homo sapiens. I'm Homo arrogans. Sorry. Homo sapiens was dead by the time we had language, um, technology, laws, systems that were much bigger than us. Now it's Homo arrogans because we have all these systems. We can't actually, they're not actually like good for us. We don't actually know how to exist in them. So I'm sorry, I'm Homo arrogans. I am of Homo arrogans. But I like to think of myself as a predecessor for, okay, so gnosis is like spiritual knowledge. So anyway, So I Googled gnosis adjective because no, I shouldn't have Googled gnosis adjective. No. Because I want to know, okay, so if the sapio, the Latin word sapio, which means maybe discern or I discern, if the present active particle is sapiens, meaning discerning, if I understand present active particle correctly, if it's discerning, then I would want knowing or something, right? So I needed to be able to conjugate gnosis or whatever it is. So I Googled agnostic, clicked on the Wikipedia for gnosis. No, is that what I did? Some point I did that, but that's not what I did just now. No, oh, so then I thought, okay, gnosis is one option, but also, and maybe I'll look at the conjugation for that, but first, let's check out self-awareness, because it's not really knowledge. It's about knowledge about the self, so self-awareness. So I typed into Google, no, am I using Bing? I think it's Bing on this tablet. Yeah, this definitely isn't Google. Oh, it is Bing. So I typed in self-awareness, ancient Greek. And the first result is a Wikipedia article, Know Thyself. Okay? Which I've heard, but I didn't know it was like a Greek thing. Anyway, it's a philosophical maxim, blah, 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 and it is the best known of the Delphic maxims. And the quote in Greek is Gnophi, like gnosis, Gnophi, soton. Gnophi being no, and soton, I guess, being some reflexive you. Okay. So we're back to gnosis. Self-awareness didn't bring me anything else, so that's okay. So how about this? You and I, what we want to do is bring about Homo gnosis. Now, gnosis may not be the present active particle of whatever the giganosko or nostos. Or no, Nosco. I don't know. Anyway, but that's okay because it sounds good, homonosis, and also it works because no this, and because it takes no and then the first letter from thyself. So there's a homage to that. So homo gnothis, spelled with a G. Okay, homo gnothis. I think that's pretty good. And so that will be from the year 12,500 to, well, whatever the next fucking major cultural thing is. Now, you could call us Homo agriculus, culturally, because agriculture is the big thing. But I just really want to highlight that it's with agriculture that the things we're capable of producing or asking of ourselves started to greatly outpace the things we're actually able to provide. Yeah, so the things we were able to ask of ourselves started greatly outpacing the things we were able to actually provide. Because once you had agriculture, culture changed so quickly, and biology just could not keep up. And we haven't changed that much biologically in the last, since year zero. Year zero human era. And I think it's just such a phenomenal achievement for a species to achieve self-knowledge, to know that they are made of atoms, that those atoms form cells, that they are made of cells, and that most of what they think of when they think of these cells, oh no, I was saying cells, but most of what they think of when they think of the selves, it's not this stuff. I could cut off my arm, and we would say, oh, it's still Eris. So most of it was here. Judgment, interpretation, all that stuff, memory, all that stuff. And even a dog doesn't know itself. A dog doesn't study itself. A dog doesn't have labels. It has its that react to pain there, and there. But my dog's not like inventing things based on its knowledge of self, of its biology. Now we are inventing things based on our knowledge of biology. Okay? And maybe rather than Homo erecgens, that would be cool. But no, that's very recent. That's very recent. That's less than 10% of the time that Homo erecgens has existed. But it's just the first time that a species is going to be able to auto-adjust. And you know what? The gnosis isn't just mental. Even doctors or biological researchers, we can say, are the predecessors of Homo gnosis. It is a species that is able to learn its own body and do things, like really impressive things about its body, and also do things based on knowledge of its own body. So you know what? Let's move it up. Not 2,500. Let's go 20, let's go 20, let's go 20, or not 2,500, not 12,500. Let's go 12,200, bro. Think of the next 200 years. We've already started on the body stuff. Now we're starting on the mind stuff. Over the next 200 years, we will know ourselves in a very constructive, productive way, where our systems reflect our actual abilities and limits, where we have supports in for things where we want to achieve something, but it doesn't come naturally, blah, blah. I mean, even education in general, is a sort of, but this is more, our educational systems today are pretty, I think, are going to be seen as pretty shit and pretty whack. We practice a lot of cool things in our schools, but we don't learn as much about the self in a consequential way. You don't learn like basic health sciences in school. You don't learn psychology in school. You don't learn biohacking in school, or sci-hacking, as maybe we'll call it, or hack-it-ing. So anyway, so I just thought that was cool, and I was going to be a quick video, but it wasn't. So we're right there in the middle. We're the second Homo. No, I don't know that that's true, actually. I think there have been Homos before us, but we're just talking about cultural. So we are currently still at the last rung. We're at Homo sapiens, and then eventually there will be some biological changes such that we are no longer Homo sapiens. But although biologically Homo sapiens, we have made progress, major progress, important, consequential, significant progress since the Homo sapiens 250,000 years ago. We have agriculture, we have systems, we have this language and all this stuff. But what we lack, despite having all of that, is knowledge of the self. So we're ambitious, and you could call us Homo ambitious, Homo ambitches. But, and then anyway, the next is Homo gnothis. What have I been saying? Homo gnothis? Because Homo gnothis, that's great. It's like, know this. Know this. Know this. That's great. I hadn't even thought of that. That's great. Okay. So this video is titled, as you already knew, From Homo sapiens to Homo gnothis. And we are Homo erecgens.